With this energy of Esotara, fruition, ease, relaxation, it feels like this person wants to give you a soft life, an easy experience in love and romance. This person has glimpsed your softer side, and it is a beautiful contradiction to, it feels like, a level of assertiveness or personal empowerment that you normally showcase, that might have been sort of the first impression that they got of you. Somebody that was very strong, very in control of their emotions, has a good head on their shoulders, very grounded, down to earth, approachable but no nonsense. But there's a part of you that this person almost sees as kind of like an untapped or underdeveloped layer of strength inside, which is your softer side, the part of you which yields, the part of you which asks for help or allows others to provide for you, whether that is material resources and support, emotional resources and support, or even, the courage it takes to keep your heart open to receiving love or allowing others to kind of earn your trust after whatever it is that you've been through in life and in love. This is somebody who is very drawn to that side of you. And so it feels like it has activated this part of them, this like masculine energy, this provider archetype within, where it's not just wanting to provide you with like a good life or a comfortable life in terms of like material resources, but something energetically speaking, or even emotional, or some combination of all of those things that will just naturally bring you into the space of kind of letting your guard down, letting this softer side of you up and out and into the light of day so that they can pour their focus upon that. Celebrate that side of you, which they see as very untouched, very kind of vulnerable. And again, like this beautiful contradiction to everything that attracted them to you in the first place, in terms of like your more dominant personality aspects that somebody at first glance would see or notice, or is everything they've kind of like known about you so far. This is somebody that kind of feels or anticipates you might not have ever really experienced like safe love, like somebody that made you feel, energetically speaking or intuitively speaking, comfortable enough to where you just sort of like switched gears and got into this position inside of yourself where trust came easily, or where the nature of like receiving from another person, it didn't come with strings attached, or it wasn't something that like put you in an awkward position, an unsafe position, a position to just sort of experience a lesson rather than a blessing. And so this is somebody that is, taking steps towards you, and it is with the intention of showing you a very beautiful experience of love to help to erase any notions that you have that like love is something that must be kind of held at arm's length, or that it's very difficult for you to kind of like place trust within people and situations as a result of anything you've been through in the past. This is somebody that wants to help kind of bring you up out of that energy by showing you, not just telling you, but showing you a different sort of side of what interpersonal connection with another person who has romantic intentions for you, what that can be like as a very positive and constructive and healing experience. We also have Sarasvati, sacred wisdom and essence. So this person recognizes that you are a very deep soul. You are an old soul. You are an ancient soul. And therefore, the type of love you have to give, it is something that is of such a high caliber, of such a high quality, that ordinary people, young souls, people who are still very much braided into their own karma or repetitive patterns, loops, and toxicity, they aren't going to understand that. They aren't going to be able to receive that properly. It may benefit them in some sort of way, but they can't reciprocate fully in a manner that benefits you totally. So this person recognizes you may be somebody that up to this point in time you've been accustomed to being like a giver or an overgiver, but there's something that they've noticed within that you have like a hard time receiving. And this is not because of any sort of like flaw in your programming. anything that you have, done wrong or that you need to fix or you need to heal. This is somebody that recognizes that you most likely in your life in general, or certainly in romance, you've encountered a lot of people who were just not evolved enough to be able to reciprocate with you in a deep and meaningful way. And so there's almost this whole side of you that has never even been reached by another person, because you've been journeying through life, through lessons, through different kind of experiences, hoping and waiting to collide with somebody with that same kind of potential of frequency within. This person themselves may also be a very deep soul, a very old soul, a very ancient soul. So it's like attracts like. This is not opposites trying to like fit themselves together. There is something, very much beyond the surface within this person that responds to something very much beyond the surface within you. This is somebody that is definitely given consideration to things like that. Reincarnation, soulmates, karmic connections. This is somebody that is well versed in kind of spiritual lingo, esoteric topics. This is not the type of person that is simply, looking to kind of like cultivate relationships with other people based on like surface level pleasures. This is somebody that, yeah, they respond to kind of their animal needs and instincts, but this is also somebody that recognizes and is able to voice and take actions in accordance with like deeper aspects of self, higher aspects of self. It feels like this is somebody who has been perhaps even sort of like holding back as far as romance is concerned, because they are seeking something very spiritually based. They have evolved beyond the version of them that would have just kind of settled for whatever out of loneliness, out of desperation, out of woundedness, or even just a very natural, human desire for partnership. But everything they were experiencing up to this point in time, it's like people just weren't on the same level as them. They might have also experienced a lot of lessons, the same as you, as far as, interpersonal connections, romance is concerned. So this is somebody that's looking for something more deep and more meaningful, and they see within you the capacity and the potential to really receive the fullness of what they are capable of offering. They also recognize that there is a side of you that has been completely untouched as far as high vibrational, genuine, loving energies are concerned. And again, they don't judge that as something that is like your fault, that you're too prudish or your boundaries are too much, or, you're just a tease or anything like that. You're snobby, you're stuck up. They see you as somebody that operates purely from the heart space. You are giving. Your energy is so inviting, but it seems to have invited a lot of takers up to this point in time. And so this is somebody that wants to find kind of like some way in order to step towards you from a place that is really motivated, action stepwise, not just from the surface level self, not just from kind of, the sexual self, but something that really, brings forth that capacity to perceive and to give and to receive on a deeper soulful level, because the idea of kind of like bringing you into your soft era, showing you an experience of like the softness of love, or being the first person to kind of traverse that landscape that has been unexplored by other lovers, maybe even other friends, other family members, other people you've connected with in this life, because you're a deep soul, you're an ancient soul, you're an old soul, and you've maybe not been dealing with other people like that, at least up close and personal. This person recognizes something about that within you. It's something that exists within them as well. And so there's almost a sense of like, let's set out on this journey, on this voyage into this like uncharted territory with one another. Because the love they have to give, it is not only strong, it is not only profound, but it has the ability to penetrate deep into the soul. They understand that about themselves, and they see that in order to kind of access that experience from you and from within that place within you, which they sense you are capable of kind of tapping into on your own, that they must first be the one to kind of take the lead and give in that capacity. Because this is somebody that is very, it feels like, open to receive. They're not just looking to fulfill surface level kind of needs and requirements. This is somebody who is really seeking like a deep soul companion, and they've recognized that potential exists between the two of you. We also have seer, vision, intuition. So this person recognizes your sensitivity, your psychic abilities, your deep empathy, your deep sense of feeling, maybe even things you've like shared about yourself or you've talked about and it comes forth in a very like impassioned way. Or you might have even had to like work on some self mastery where they see that you've created this very excellent ability to kind of like hold back and limit yourself, not overgive, because in the past you gave everything and were totally depleted because you were dealing with a bunch of like takers, a bunch of energy vampires, a bunch of people that were not evolved enough as a soul to even comprehend what true reciprocity is. This person that is on your mind, that if you're resonating with this video, the energies of that person, they are able to comprehend this about you, and it is nothing that threatens them. It is nothing that they look at in an opportunistic manner. It is nothing that they feel, they need to kind of like run and hide from this ability on your part to perceive beyond the surface of other people, other situations, that you lead from the heart space. And so it is more than with your five senses or your logical mind that you are operating in the world. It's almost from this subtle realm of experience that you also take steps forward or hold back from certain things. And this is also somebody that operates in a similar capacity. So they feel very like fortunate to have connected with you because they sense within you this kindred spirit energy. And they imagine, what would it be like to have romance with someone capable of tapping into like those dimensions of the human experience, those dimensions of the spiritual plane? What would that be like to have very simple experiences with this person or very like complex experiences with this person? So this is somebody like their third eye is wide open. This is nobody that you would have to like, catalyze into a spiritual awakening or, accidentally would sort of serve as that catalyst for them. And deep potentials between the two of you would sort of lead to the person running in the opposite direction. That might have been the case for you up to this point in time with someone or multiple individuals. It feels like that was also the case for this person at various points in their lifetime, feeling that deep soul connection, colliding into other people's wounds, and all of that rich potential would sort of fizzle out. They'd have people ghosting them, running in the opposite direction with nothing they could think of that they'd done wrong except for being themselves. This person gets that and they see something of that within you. And so this is somebody, it feels like, that wants to proceed forward, not just with trying to kind of please you in a material way, but to also really tap into that rich subtle potential between the two of you. Because the idea of what that kind of higher level love might be like, that is very enticing for them. As much as they sense that there is like a softer side of you that may never have been kind of like properly nurtured or in sort of safe hands with other people, and so you kind of kept it hidden, you were like self-protective. This is also somebody that recognizes that you are somebody who has this kind of access to more of like a depth of perception than would be considered ordinary, or that people that are less evolved or unawakened, how they move through the world, their goals, their priorities, what they run towards, what they run away from. You're somebody that kind of like operates on this higher plane, this higher frequency, and you anchor that beautifully into the material world. And so this is somebody that wants to kind of tap into this potential between the two of you at this phase of your connection from that vantage point. They see that within you, and they see that within themselves as well. So it feels like this is something that they don't necessarily want to like talk about that out loud, because it's the kind of thing that it's like, how do you even describe certain things like that? You gotta feel it in order to know it. You either get it or you don't. And this is somebody that feels like you already understand that. You already get things like that. So there's no need to kind of diminish that experience by kind of tangling it all up with words. But this is the type of thing to kind of like lead from that energetic space. Yes, of course, take steps in the material world that are clear and that are direct, but this is somebody that wants to help to kind of acknowledge that softer side of you that they've seen kind of just peek to the surface, to coax that into more of the stance that you take with them, so that they are honoring not just, who you are as you have chosen to move through the world in this very kind of like assertive way, this very self-assured way, somebody with really good boundaries, really good sense of self. But this is also somebody at this time that really wants to nurture, and they feel that it is best done with these kind of soul based, these very kind of like heart space, emotional body based energies. That softer side of you that they feel that their love has the ability to quench, that it could be a very unique experience between the two of you of something that is out of the ordinary, something very memorable, something that could be a very healing, very uplifting, very powerful experience for the two of you, not just temporarily, but it's the kind of thing that it's like to nurture that aspect would lead to very interesting possibilities of something they've never experienced before successfully with another person. But they are very hopeful that the two of you, and kind of approaching things in this way, it will lead to something long-term and successful that is not just like happily ever after in that very like typical or ordinary sense, but it's happily ever after in kind of the wider space of the dreamscape, where many others that they have been in contact with in their life have not even been able to perceive or acknowledge or tap into in some kind of way, because they were just like young souls, they were unevolved, they were operating in toxic energies, they were just sort of stuck in patterns, too stubborn to change. But they see with you that you are somebody who is very flexible, you are somebody who is very adaptable, you are somebody who's already tapped into those things. And so it doesn't require kind of leading the way in that sense. It just requires sort of meeting you where you are, which is already a place that, a part of them exists. So, those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.